and I get a lot of emails from the doctors that I train from their clients saying, I'm keto adapted and yet I'm still not burning fat, et cetera, and they're worried about the weight loss. And I explain that it takes time to become more and more efficient at burning fat, and therefore the body feeling free, that it can burn its fat even for energy. But it does. It takes time. It even took my wife time. My wife she did not click in for a long time before she was able to use her fat stores for energy. It was months and months and really almost a year before she became, as efficient as myself. And now her numbers are that. She's now an efficient fat burner, and it's so much easier for her to stay lean now. And Meredith, you have asked that question, I think, to Volek, maybe D'Agostino, about that time. You said, what's the difference? It seemed like women have tougher time, getting into that fat burning efficiency.
Yeah. The other thing I think that's important is the type of high-fat diet that you follow. And there was a really interesting study last year that looked into the potential for high levels of chlorophyll in the bloodstream to be able to assist with ATP production. And like a very plant-rich ketogenic diet is, in my opinion, favorable for not only limiting oxidation and free radical production, but also causing even more stable energy sources due to the fiber, but also potentially an increase in ATP production beyond what we fully understand in nutrition science when it comes to having a lot of plant-based chlorophylls in the bloodstream. And I see a lot of people follow, say, like the bulletproof coffee type of approach, and they'll have like 3 cups of coffee with butter and MCT oil in it during the day, and they'll have like a big cut of fatty steak at dinner, and they'll, for lunch might be coconut milk with some coconut flakes and some chocolate stevia. And if you step back and you look at the diet, maybe there's some macadamia nuts sprinkled in here and there. There's very little plant matter. I personally eat about 20 to 25 servings of plants per day. We have an enormous backyard garden, and I'm eating tons of kale and butter lettuce and bok choy and mustard greens and cilantro and parsley and tomatoes, and none of that counts towards my total daily carbohydrate intake. But I think that is one component that needs to be emphasized here, is that a high-fat diet does not mean that you're not eating plants. And in fact, I eat a lot of plants, a lot of fiber, and it makes a night and day difference. And when I look over the blood and biomarkers of people following a high-fat diet, a lot of times I see really high triglycerides and really low HDL, right? Which is often what you'll see in someone who's eating a ton of animal fats without many plants or without much fiber. Or I'll see a lot of CO2 and really low chloride levels, an indicator of a net acidic state, and a lot of biomarkers that aren't necessarily favorable, and that can be a result of a high-fat diet done improperly. And so I think that's one important thing to bear in mind too, is that you don't want to necessarily eschew plant intake and vegetable intake. You just want to ensure that those are accompanied primarily by healthy fats and oils rather than accompanied by high amounts of protein and starches.